Colorado is headed back to the Big 12. Yes, kids, Colorado used to be there, so they're headed back to the Big 12. Board of Regents met today. That was a formality. I assume they informed the Big 12. That's the classy thing to do on your way out the door, and the Pac-12 as well, but that was a formality. Let me tell you the first thing I thought about when this news, I got presented like 4 months ago, honestly. A lot of people have kind of known this was coming, although our friends on the West Coast, in some cases, presidents and commissioners on the West Coast, tried to deny it. I've hinted at this for a while, so a lot of you guys had already picked up on that. And then last week, pretty much knew what was coming this week. So I let you know as much as I could. Now that it's happened, even as you had folks at Pac-12 Media Days telling you expansion's over and realignment's over, now that it's happened, I want you guys to think about this. Most of you are not Colorado fans. Some of you may not even be Big 12 fans, but you're all college football fans. I have that on good authority or you wouldn't be watching the show. Do you guys care about the playoff at all? Do you care about the structure of the sport? On that question, I get a yes from most of you. So I'm hanging out with Uncle Dennis down there, who, by the way, nailed this. And a lot of you ridiculed my Uncle Dennis, and he nailed this. So he's not going to take a victory lap. I will for him. I was talking to Uncle Dennis, and I said, Uncle Dennis, let me ask you something. You keep up with these sorts of things. How much certainty is there in the college football playoff beyond 2025? And he said, nothing. Go on. And I said, well, it seems to me that if the Pac-12 is imploding in on itself like a dying star, and you have the SEC and the Big Ten becoming what they have become, it seems to me, Uncle Dennis, that why would we go into a new college football playoff contract, which is about to be negotiated, by the way, and have the SEC and the Big Ten agree to the same amount of auto bids for conference champs that we're about to see for the next 2 years? Because for the next 2 years, there are 6 guaranteed spots in the college football playoff for the highest ranked conference champs, and then you've also got 6 at-larges. 6 plus 6 equals 12, 12-team field. You know that drill. You're crazy if you think I'm leading the SEC or the Big Ten and I'm going to sign my name on a piece of paper that still guarantees that. And it's not so much for the health of the sport. You know my feelings on this. I don't like any of the realignment. I love territoriality in college football, but we're way, way past having that genie out of the bottle. So if I were to go role play for you in a second, and I were to say, I'm Greg Sankey, or I'm a new Big Ten commissioner, or I am the replacement for Bill Hancock at the head of the college football playoff. Are we really about to enter into a world where I think the Pac-12 champ still has the same shot at being in the playoff as the SECs? I would never voluntarily, I'm saying, enter into that kind of agreement. I don't think they will. Like, that is the big takeaway. That's the big thing to watch down the road. And it's going to take a couple of years, but down the road, I don't think there's a lot known about the future of the playoff. Now, the Big 12, it's an interesting thing happening right here. You got the SEC, you got the Big 10. The Big 12 somehow found a way, and Brett Yormark, new Big 12 commissioner, somehow found a way to lose Oklahoma and Texas and look like an aggressor. Any other person out there, any other old school bow tie administrative sort of commissioner would cower. They would go into a clamshell, and it would be all about hiring firms, and it would be all about reading prepared statements. Oh, by the way, Yormark in the Big 12 put out a statement. I actually memorized the whole thing. The entire conference statement I have memorized because they released it about an hour ago, and it's 2 words. They're back. That's the kind of stuff I would do if I ran a conference. That's why they don't let me run conferences. Brett Yormark released a 2-word statement on adding a new member institution today, being the Colorado Buffaloes. When they got ahead of the Pac-12 in line and they signed that new media rights deal, that was a surefire sign. When they have seemed steadfast, both in front of the camera and off the record via reporting from well-sourced reporters on every step of the way on this, that was another telltale sign. And I'll tell you something else that I was hearing consistently that I'll let you know now. I think there are a lot of people in our space. I don't mean the commentary space. I mean the actual nuts and bolts reporting of this. I think a lot of them were even ahead of the curve and knew more in some cases than George Kliavkoff and a lot of the university presidents out on the West Coast. I don't know how much those presidents were being told. That's why it looks so stupid right now. Like I've looked on Twitter, and I've seen you guys all day, as you should. You've been sharing those clips from Pac-12 Media Day last week where they were so adamant, oh, it's over, we're good, we're fine now. And meanwhile, I'm sitting in Nashville thinking to myself, no, you're not. And I know that's coming. Like, I had very good knowledge that this was coming. So if I know it, how do you not know it? And it's either they lied to your face or they were taken aback by this. And either way, it's bad. You could argue which thing is worse, but either way, it's bad. So what about the Pac-12? Because I hate this. Like, real talk now, even though I grew up in the rural South, I like coast-to-coast quality college football. And I'm sort of, with the rest of you guys, teetering on the brink of not having valid football being played, west of the Rockies, I guess? I'm not telling you there won't be football I care about. You know what I mean when I say this. I mean, on the national scale, I look at some of what I grew up on, and a lot of those teams have changed conferences and affiliations, and the conference itself has already been on one broken leg and one hobbled leg, and it looked like this year was going to be a nice little springboard towards re-relevancy, and now I don't know what's going to happen here. I think it would be very foolish if you were to zoom out a little bit and you look at the fact that 3 of these schools have bailed in the last couple of years, not one. Don't get caught up on just today. USC said bye. UCLA said bye. Colorado said bye. Do we really think that's it? I'm not hinting at anything in the coming days or weeks. I'm saying, do we really think that's it? I was so interested to, and I still would be so interested, to hear from a lot of the folks at Utah or the folks at Oregon or the folks at Washington. And you never know what's going on behind the scenes there, but let's just say there's nothing. Okay, let's just say they're chilling and they love that Pac-12 sticker on their helmet. How do they feel today? I mean, how do they feel about being a member of a conference that has such an uncertain future? There's no way that I think that conference maintains its competitive integrity, is what I'm telling you. I don't like saying that. I would love to run interference for the conference. I would love to carry water for them, and I'd love to pretend that everything's okay. It's not. So that's how I feel about this. I always save my feelings for the end on a breaking news day. I hate the shift, but I'm telling you right now, we're in the weeds. You know, everyone's talking about Colorado today. I know there have been rumors about FSU in Miami. I know nothing about that for the record, but there have been rumors about individual schools. Zoom it out, guys. Just zoom it out and ask yourself. And be selfish for a second. Everyone else in this sport is. Be selfish for a second. If you run the Big Ten, if you run the SEC, are you seriously 2 years or maybe just 18 months from now going to sit at a boardroom table and say, sure, we'll voluntarily agree, even though we're a superpower conference, we'll agree to a format that guarantees 6 automatic berths in the college football playoff to conference champs that are ranked the highest? Why would you ever do that? Why would anyone in a room full of folks who mainly care about money, they say otherwise, why would they voluntarily give up any of that? Has anyone cracked a history book open lately? Like, is that ever how this works? And so I know today it's about expansion and realignment. I'm kind of tired of talking about it. I do think the coming conversation will be about how that playoff that everyone fought so hard to expand, everyone but me, fought so hard to expand. I wonder how that thing's going to be structured in the next go-around. Not this one, in the next go-around.